In the headlines, 11 soldiers pay the supreme price as bandits attack military base in Kaduna. Kano court sentences an atheist to 24 years in prison for blasphemy. House of Representatives service chiefs collaborate to rescue the country. And European Union allies expel more Russian diplomats amid outrage over butcher killings. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Zainab Bala. Hello and welcome. At least 11 soldiers were killed in an ambush by terrorists along the Kaduna-Birnin-Gwari highway. Reports say terrorists ambushed and massacred the soldiers, setting two military armored personnel carriers ablaze on Sunday. The terrorists were moving several herds of cows when the soldiers, suspecting the cows had been rustled, engaged them. Abdulhamid, a resident of Birnin-Gwari, told correspondents that on Monday morning, a military redeployment was sent to the area to evacuate the dead soldiers. He said he counted about 11 corpses of soldiers loaded into a van. The House of Representatives has called on service chiefs and other heads of security agencies to synergize and rescue Nigeria from the menace of insecurity. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, made the call while addressing the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Lucky Irabo, other service chiefs, Director, Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji Bichi, the Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amici, and other stakeholders. Gbajabiamila was speaking at the resumed meeting between the House leadership and stakeholders in the country in security, transport and aviation sectors. He said the House had a series of meetings with the service chiefs on several occasions regarding the rising insecurity, adding that recent happenings call for more effective synergy and efforts to tame the rise in attacks and kidnappings in the country. A Kano State High Court sitting at Audubako has sentenced a self-confessed atheist, Mubarak Bala, to 24 years in prison for blasphemy. Bala, who is the president of the Humanist Association of Nigeria, pleaded guilty to committing blasphemy against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He made the headlines in 2020 when he was arrested at his residence in Kaduna over blasphemy and incitement. The convict, who had been in a prison for almost 2 years, entered a guilty plea on Tuesday when he was brought before the court on an 18-count charge. While pleading with the court to temper justice with mercy, Bala promised not to repeat the said blasphemous post, saying he did not know it would elicit the sort of reactions it got when he shared them. The judge sentenced him to 24 years in prison. Now, as the 2023 elections draw closer, political actors in the country are building alliances that will help them scale through the political hurdles ahead of the elections. To this end, a former Senate President and stalwart of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Bukola Saraki, recently visited a South-South governor as part of building alliances for 2023. The report.
The former Senate President, Bukola Saraki, while in the South-South, said all presidential aspirants of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, from the North are working for the emergence of a consensus candidate to foster the much-desired unity in the country. Saraki disclosed this in Asaba when he led other aspirants, including Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State, Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, and former Managing Director of FSB International Bank PLC, Alhaji Muhammad Haituddin, on a consultative visit to Governor Ifanyo Kowa at Government House, Asaba. He said that Nigeria is in dire need of competent leaders to reverse the country's slide into poverty, insecurity and anarchy, called on stakeholders of the party to support consensus arrangement to ensure that the party remain united and able to rescue the country from maladministration.
We're very committed in this exercise that we're doing to ensure that one of us, whoever agreed, would come out under this consensus. We're committed to this process. And we also hope that we also have some of the aspirants too, also who are still thinking about it, and also look at this consensus arrangement too. So that at the end of the day, the PDP will be united and will provide leadership to this country.
Responding, Okowa thanked the visitors for coming to intimate him of their plans, insisting that consensus candidacy is indeed in the best interest of the unity of the party and the country.
I truly want to appreciate you for this visit and to urge that you continue to work hard towards the building of this consensus and actually the building of the party, because as you build this consensus across the nation, you're also building the party, the PDP, and preparing us to be in a good state to be able to truly compete favorably and win. And I think that this is the kind of thing we need at the moment.
Taraba State Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku has directed all political appointees in the state who want to contest for various positions in 2023 general elections to resign before Friday, April 8, 2023. The directive also affects supervisory councillors, special advisors and secretaries to the local councils. Ishaku's directives was contained in a press statement issued by his chief press secretary, Ilya Beku, and made available to newsmen in Jalingo this Tuesday. The governor, according to the release, expressed appreciation to the political appointees for their contribution towards the progress and development of his administration in the state and wished them well in their future endeavors. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has called on political parties to avoid acrimonious primaries that could result in unnecessary litigations that may lead to failure to nominate and field candidates for elections in some constituencies. INEC made the call in a statement by the National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, titled Adherence to the 2023 General Elections Timetable and Schedule of Activities by Political Parties, and made available to newsmen on Tuesday. The Commission reiterates that parties must adhere strictly to the principles of internal democracy drawn from their constitutions, guidelines, Electoral Act, and other regulations and guidelines issued by the Commission. It maintained that candidates for the 1,491 constituencies for which elections will be conducted in 2023 must emerge from democratic, transparent and valid primaries in line with the provisions of sections 29 and 84 of the Electoral Act 2022. The statement clarified that where a political party fails to comply with provisions of the Act in the conduct of its primaries, its candidate shall not be included in the election for the position in the issue. It added that the Commission shall monitor the primaries of each political party that provides the required legal notice in line with sections 84 subsection 1 and section 5 of the Electoral Act, noting that failure of a political party to notify the Commission of any convention or Congress convened for the purpose of nominating candidates for any of the elective offices specified in the Act shall render the convention or Congress invalid. Just a few days into the month of Ramadan, when Muslim faithfuls are fasting, water scarcity has hit Katsina. In the aftermath, people now defy the scorching sun to scout for water for drinking and other domestic purposes. Abdullahi Ahmadi now reports.
Epileptic power supply hampers the capacity of boreholes that supply the greater percentage of water to residents of the ancient city of Katsina. Similarly, the upgrading of Ajio Water Works has further worsened the situation. A 25-liter jerrycan of water now costs between 60 to 70 naira in some parts of Katsina, as against 20 to 25 naira few days ago. So we are suffering a lot. And even though we can understand the situation of the water vendors, they pay a lot. And even those that produce the water, those that have the boreholes, they have to buy diesel and petrol to power the boreholes. These water vendors attribute the scarcity to frequent power outages and the cost of diesel to power generators for boreholes. They also lamented that the water shortage has drastically affected their income, and they spend a lot buying water from source. Those selling water for us have increased the amount. You know, the price of diesel and petrol have affected the entire business. So we have to pay a lot and we have to sell at a cost which we will get something. Only recently, sachet water producers increased the price from 90 naira to 200 naira per bag. The water scarcity occasioned by epileptic power supply, high cost of diesel and petrol, if allowed to continue, will affect people of Katsina who are mostly low-income earners. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
There you go. Elsewhere, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has commenced the clearing of waste and desilting of drainage systems in Onitsha, the commercial hub of the state. The governor, in an effort to ensure prompt and effective execution of the exercise, commenced monitoring and supervision from the Abiano Park, Upper Iweka areas of Onitsha south through Fege Ochanja Market and Ochanja Roundabout. Speaking after the inspection, Soludo warned against throwing refuse into the drainage and urged for synergy to keep the state clean.
To godliness, okay?
You see, as dirt and refuse filled this place, it has been removed, and the dirt and refuse won't be here again.
The dirt has affected the market by many ways. No road to pass here, or we always have hold up, and customers are no more coming because of this conjunction of these dustbins. So I feel what the governor did today will help us. By Tuesday, I know movement will be and the road will clear.
This will be a mental day. So it's very, very nice because of this is Elephant House and we do market for that. Last time, 3 days ago, this is the whole Elephant House. We pay money to come out the whole dust waiting for Elephant House. Therefore, and today, I see some new is working and they're very, very nice. They're too happy for our children and everything. They are everybody to hand together.
We are praising our governor, and now we have a governor who is concerned about the benefit of his people.
The Abuja Division of the Federal High Court on Monday deferred hearing on a suit seeking to stop the federal government from extraditing the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Bakari, to the United States of America for trial till June 14th. Cited as defendants in the suit are the Nigeria Police Force and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami. Justice Donatus Okoroku adjourned the matter following the absence of all the parties in court on Monday. When the suit was called up for hearing, neither the applicant nor the respondent were in court. There was also no legal representation for any of the parties. Consequently, Justice Okoroku, who had earlier threatened to strike out the case for want of diligent prosecution, said he was minded to grant one more adjournment. He ordered the service of hearing notice on all the parties. You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up, extension of budget implementation. Details of this after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Trust TV News Update. Here are our top stories. 11 soldiers paid the supreme price as bandits attack military base in Kaduna along Kaduna-Birningwari Highway. Kano State High Court sitting at Audubako has sentenced a self-confessed atheist, Mubarak Bala, to 24 years in prison for blasphemy. Still ahead, at least 10 members of the Ondo State chapter of the National Union of Road Transport Workers have been injured during a clash between two factions of the union in Akure, the state capital. The state government had suspended the union's activities and subsequently inaugurated a 21-member state motor parks management committee led by former state chairman of NURTW, Jacob Adebo. Some aggrieved members of the union on Monday evening, numbering about 50, stormed the Ado-Ekiti Park in the state capital in some buses and went on a rampage across all the parks in the area. Armed with dangerous weapons such as cutlasses, bottles and guns, the hoodlums stormed the popular Oba Desiba Road and other major streets in the city center, causing panic among residents. A faction of the union had protested the ban on NURTW by the state government and appointment of the former state chairman to lead the committee that will manage parks in the state. The Nigerian Senate has extended the implementation year of the 2021 Appropriation Act from 31st March to 31st May 2022. The extension was approved following the consideration of a bill to amend the 2021 Appropriation Act. The report.
The bill, sponsored by Senate leader Senator Yaya Abdullahi, was read on Tuesday for the first time, the second time and the third time after the suspension of Rule 78, subsection 1 of the Senate Standing Rule 2022 as amended. Leading the debate on the bill, Senator Abdullahi recalled that appropriation acts passed mid-year usually have their implementation extended to the following year. He explained that the extension of the budget period became imperative in view of the need to complete ongoing projects nearing completion.
In view of the critical importance of these key projects which are nearing completion, it is expedient to grant further extension of the expiration clause to avoid confounding the problem of abandoned projects, given that some of the projects were not provided for in the 2022 budget. Therefore, the need to extend the implementation year to 31st March 2022 is apparent. This is in order to avoid liabilities and unnecessary cost escalation of projects that have already gone through the necessary implementation processes. A bill for an act to amend the 2021 Appropriation Act in order to extend the implementation year from 31st March to 31st May 2022 and for related matters 2022, third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Our colleagues in the House of Representatives are doing the same. And time is of essence, and I will urge the executive arm of government to swiftly swing into action to ensure that we achieve 100% budget implementation like we did achieve in the 2020 Appropriation Act.
3 other bills scaled through second reading this Tuesday. These bills are to establish a National Industrial Technology Park, the Federal College of Agric, Ise-Orin, Ekiti State, and the Federal College of Agriculture, Ogoja, Cross River State. The bills, after consideration, were referred to the relevant committees. The committees have 4 weeks to report back to the Senate.
Acquiring technical skills during the service year by the core members will go a long way in making them to become self-reliant. These were the words of the Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule at the inauguration of the North Central Skills Acquisition Center in the Magaji Lenya Musa NYSC camp in Kefi, Nasarawa State. Correspondent Abubakar Abdullahi tells us more.
The Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule, while appreciating the NYSC for citing the location of the facility in the state, said the facility, if commence operation, it will offer entrepreneurial skills for core members posted to the state and create jobs for the residents of the state. Governor Sule assured that his administration will not only push for the patronage of the facility, but will also work closely with the scheme in the state as a team for the benefit of youth and other residents of the state.
The need for us not only to acquire a degree, but to acquire a skill. So with this, I want to thank you for your vision, for redefining and reinvigorating the NYSC as a whole. We will not only patronize the products you are having here as a state, we will find ways to work together as a team.
Director General of NYSC, Major General Shuaibu Ibrahim, said the purpose of establishing the Skills Acquisition Center was to reinvigorate the NYSC ventures.
The execution of this project is in line with one of my cardinal programs, which is to reinvigorate the NYSC ventures and the skill acquisition and technology development side in line with the NYSC Act for greater impact. Both are very important, especially in the light of the prevailing economic realities. While the skill acquisition and technology development program is geared towards empowering core members for self-empowerment and wealth creation, the NYSC ventures comprising agro-based and other businesses are meant to play multiple purposes of providing part of our kit items.
He further explained that the scheme's sustained focus on revamping the NYSC ventures is already bearing results, as over 1 billion naira generated through the ventures and paid into the coffers of federal government from the year 2020 to 2021. The NYSC DG charged officers saddled with the responsibility of managing the center to justify the confidence reposed in them. The Skills Acquisition Center has bakery, garment, and table water factories, which are expected to train thousands of core members in the North Central region. Abubakar Abdullahi, Trust TV News, Lafia.
As Muslims stock up on the traditional foods for the month of Ramadan, prices of foodstuff have skyrocketed in the market. Fatima Salaladen visits some markets within the Kaduna metropolis and files in this report.
A check at the popular Baikindogo market in Kaduna reveals that prices of most staple fruits have gone up. Ibrahim Muhammad, a yam seller, says the hike in food price is not related to this year's Ramadan, but blames it on the insecurity which affects farmers across the country, especially the northern region.
We used to get supply from Madaka, but in recent times, the people in the area were displaced by insecurity. And if Madaka is not producing yam, there may be scarcity and skyrocketing of price in the market.
Some traders say food prices largely depend on how much they are able to purchase the commodities from producing companies. They claimed the prices usually go up in the month of Ramadan and called on the relevant agencies to ensure price control.
Speaking, everything has changed, honestly speaking, because before we are selling, we are buying food commodities from the company in the lower price, and then we are selling it at the end of the day at the lower price. But now everything is not like that. Now everything has changed now, because the company now, they already increased the price of the food commodities. The another problem that we are facing in Nigeria, honestly speaking, we don't have price control.
As many continue to pay as much as double the normal price of food items, the chairman of grain sellers in Kaduna State explained that the price of grains has been controlled ahead of this year's Ramadan in order to cushion the suffering of the ordinary man.
We have reduced the price of grains to ease the hardship of people in the month of Ramadan. We sold a bag of unicorn at 26 to 27,000 naira, but we have reduced to 24 or 25,000 naira. The bag of maize, which we sold at 24,000 naira, but we now sell at 22,000, and the bag of beans from 58,000 to 55,000.
It has become a norm for prices of commodities to rise during the month of Ramadan and other festive periods in the country, as buyers are left with no option than to make purchase. Fatima Salaladen, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has warned the public to avoid dealing with unlicensed or illegal financial operators who lure and defraud unsuspecting members of the public with promises about treasurer's returns. The CBN disclosed this in the Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee's public statement advisory on illegal financial operators in Nigeria, posted on its website on Monday. It urged the public to visit the websites of the CBN, Security and Exchange Commission and other relevant member agencies of the FSRCC to verify the registration and license status of such companies and schemes before investing in them. It added that agencies must refer to relevant advisory authorities for confirmation before finalizing any registration or licensing application. Spain's foreign minister has announced the expulsion of 25 Russian envoys over killings of civilians in Bucha, Ukraine. Italy, Denmark and Sweden on Tuesday joined EU allies in expelling Russian diplomats over the war in Ukraine, with more than 120 sent packing in the last 48 hours. The expulsions come amid international outrage over killings in the town of Bucha near Kiev, where dozens of bodies were found over the weekend in mass graves or littering the streets. However, Russian authorities have denied the charges of civilian killings in Bucha and other locations near the capital, with its defense ministry on Tuesday claiming they had been staged by Ukraine. European Union countries have expelled more than 230 Russian diplomats since Moscow invaded Ukraine on February 24th. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has urged the world to enforce tough new sanctions on Moscow over the killings in Bucha, which has described as war crimes and genocide. And in sports, the Sydney Cricket Ground will host a Rugby Union International for the first time since 1986, when England toured Australia this summer. The SCG will stage the final test on Saturday, 16th July, after games in the Perth and Brisbane on the 2 previous weeks. In 2021, the ground was set to host a test against France, but a lockdown meant the match shifting to Brisbane. The SCG hosted Australia's first Rugby Union International, a 13-3 win over Great Britain in 1899, and the 48,000 capacity venue continued to be the Wallabies Sydney's home until 1986. The temporary switchback will be occurring while the Sydney Football Stadium is being rebuilt. Well, with sports, we wrap up news updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. See you in a moment.